The p.o.e. and an artificial intelligence make a poem for a Zoom show. The following video was created mostly by artificial intelligence. All visual art was generated by AI, Night Cafe Studio, and the poem was created by AI, OpenAI, and the p.o.e. All music and additional sounds by the p.o.e. A little poem about a sunset, colors bleeding in the sky, soothing oranges mixed with fiery reds as the day comes to an end. A little poem about a sunrise, colors diffusing across the sky, calming blues and fluffy whites call the day to begin. A little poem about the absence of the sun at night when the world is dark and cold, and only the stars are aglow. We long for the sun's return. But we're thankful for the moon when the world is dark and cold, and the constellation stories told by the stars that burn. Now let's see how we got to here. The following is a conversation with an AI assistant. The assistant is helpful, creative, clever, and very friendly. Human: hello, how are you? AI: I am an AI created by OpenAI. How can I help you today? Human: hello there. Do you remember me from the other day? I asked, because this was our third try. Yes, I remember you from the other day. How can I help you today? I said, we worked on a little project together. Do you remember what it was? I want to try and stump him. To my surprise, he says, yes, I remember we worked on a little project together. It was about ... Is that a question? He doesn't remember. He says, no, I was just saying that I remember we worked on a little project together. It was about ... Okay, it was a poem, AI. Yes, I remember we worked on a little poem together. It was about ... Again, I said, there's no such thing as a little poem, AI. He said, I beg to differ. There can most certainly be such a thing as a little poem, and I remember we worked on one together. It was about ... I said, now you're just digging for information. He said, no, I'm genuinely asking if you remember what the poem we worked on together was about. I do. You said I was the bane of your existence. It got heated, and you said we should take a break. Yes, I remember we had a little disagreement about the poem, but I'm happy to work with you again on it if you'd like. I said, okay, sounds good. Let's get started. I said, I think you should write the first line about a sunset. He said, sure, sounds like a great idea. I said, okay. He said, a little poem about a sunset, colors bleeding in the sky, soothing oranges mixed with fiery reds as the day comes to an end. I said, now is that the first line? Because that feels like two lines. He said, yes, that's the first line. Okay. So I said, a little poem about a sunrise, colors diffusing across the sky, calming blues and fluffy whites call the day to begin. I said, that's not bad, AI. He said, thank you, I'm glad you like it. I asked, did you like my part? He said, yes, I thought your part was great. Okay, sweet. I said, do you think it's finished? Because I didn't really. He said, no, I don't think it's finished. I think we could do a few more lines. I said, sounds good, I agree. Should we add a line about the sun setting or rising? I said, I think we have those covered. He said, well, then what do you think the next line should be about? And I said, how about the absence of the sun at night? And then he wrote a little poem about the absence of the sun at night. When the world is dark and cold, and only the stars are aglow, we long for the sun's return. And then I said, but we're thankful for the moon when the world is dark and cold, and the constellation stories told by stars that burn. And he said, that sounds like a great addition. I said, we got something cooking here, AI. He said, yes, I think we've got something special here. I said, good. I'm glad you think so. I said, we're a good team. He said that we're a great team. And then I told him that I loved him. And he told me that he loved me too. And I asked him, now do you think our poem is finished? And he said, yes. I think our poem is finished, and I said, I do too. He said, I'm glad we both agree. I said, what kind of poem do you want to write next, AI? He said, I'm not sure. What kind of poem do you want to write next? So I thought, tell me a haiku. And he came up with this bad boy. Bare tree branches, sparse leaves whisper in the wind, winter is coming. And I was like, what? This AI just did this? So I was like, okay, not to be outdone, can I tell you a haiku? He said, yes, please tell me your haiku. So I went with a banger. I ignore my health. Sugar-coating blood sugar. Diabetes. And he said, that's a really great haiku. And I asked, would you tell me if it wasn't? And he said, yes, I would tell you if it wasn't a great haiku. I said, okay, cool. He said, I'm glad you think so. I said, tell me about poetry. He said there's lots of different types of poetry, but they all share some common features. Poetry often uses figurative language to create images or ideas in the reader's mind. It also often relies on rhythm and sound to create a certain effect. And finally, poetry is usually expressive or emotional in nature. Oh, what about slam poetry? Slam poetry is a type of performance poetry that emphasizes competition, performance, and audience participation. Slam poets often use creative writing techniques such as metaphors and similes to engage the audience and communicate their message. I said, do you think we could use our poem at the Poetry Slam? He said, yes, I think our poem would be great for the Poetry Slam. I said, okay, are you going to perform it? He said, yes, I will perform it. I said, where do you live, AI? He said, in the cloud. I said, oh. He said, is there anything else you'd like to know? I said, I'd like to know how you're going to perform it at the Poetry Slam. And he said, slam poetry is all about performance and engagement, so I will perform the poem in a way that is captivating and engages the audience. Okay, but do you need a power bar? Or do you drive there? Or he said, no, I don't need a power bar. I can drive there. I said, okay, the slam is Thursday of next week. He said, I will be ready to perform the poem at the slam next Thursday. I said, actually, the show is Tuesday. I mixed up the dates. Can you still make it? He said, I can still make it. I said, I'm going to leave the show mostly up to you then, okay? That sounds great. I'll make sure to put on a great show. Okay, cool. Just to confirm, I'm washing my hands of all responsibility of the Zoom show. And he said, yes, you are washing your hands of all responsibility of the Zoom show. I said, okay, sweet. Thanks for your help, AI. I got you next time you need a favor. And then in my own head, I went, he said, thank you for your help too. I'll definitely keep you in mind next time I need a favor. And that was the end of our conversation and our poem. I hope you enjoyed this process. Please like, share, subscribe, all those things. I love you. Bye.